sports.
We are Buckmore. We are St. Louis.
This version of Busch Stadium has already been home to 2 World Series champions, 2006 and then 11 and 11. They're going for 12 and 12. Big crowd expected tonight. Game 3, San Francisco and St. Louis. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. My partner tonight, the Mad Hungarian, Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Let's jump right into it. A look at our starters, our Toyota key matchup, and Ryan Vogelsong. Al has turned into one of the great stories for the Giants dating back to last year.
He really has. He did not make the team out of spring training a year ago, but then he had an all-star season, and this year he's leading the National League in ERA. Pitches a little bit better at home. His road record still is not that shabby with a 3.60 ERA, and he's playing with a little chip on his shoulder because he thinks he should have been an all-star again this year.
Now, speaking of home starters, what about Joe Kelly? The youngster has been very, very good.
He's pitched very well here at home. Look at the ERA, 2.73. Should have a much better record than that. He did win his last start. Hopefully that'll get him going.
Should be a lot of fun here tonight. Game number 3 of this 4-game set, Giants and Cardinals. And when we come back, we'll talk about the cannon in right, Carlos Beltran. It's been on display as of late. Outfield arms. A look at Carlos next. Carlos Beltran in the middle of Mike Matheny's lineup, and he's been all smiles this season. He's in the lineup tonight, putting up big numbers, obviously, at the plate. And Al also with the outfield assists from right field. Those are starting to pile up as well.
They really are. He's such a complete player. 3 Gold Gloves to his name. Early in the season, maybe some of the clubs were testing him, as he only had 2 assists in the first 3 months. But here in August, he already has 5 assists. The arm is strong. It's accurate. He's getting some good tags from his teammates. David Freese has deked a couple runners at third. People are trying to stretch singles into doubles, doubles into triples, and the Cardinal right fielder has been outstanding.
How about this throw from Skip Schumacher? The relay started by Beltran, one of the plays of the night in game number 2. This evening, though, we turn the page on that loss, game number 3, and a look at the Cardinals' record when we come back. Record. Well, St. Louis starts tonight 10 games above 500, yet 5.5 games out in the Central Division. Yet historically, they're putting up some of the best numbers they've ever seen in run differential. We compared it with the team that's represented the American League the last 2 years in the World Series, the Rangers, and they start 5.5 games up in their division. Yet the Cardinals are in 3rd place. There has been an awful lot of talk about run differential this season with the St. Louis Cardinals and as to why they are trailing in 3rd place in the Central Division. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, Pat Paris is here to hopefully shed some light on this. Pat, what do you have?
A lot of theories, Dan, of course. The Cardinal bullpen was a reason early on. They have been much better of late. The starting pitching has been consistent throughout. But it's that feast or famine mentality of the Cardinal offense that's been plaguing them. You look at what they've done in the first 3 innings this season. When leading after 3, they're 41-8. When they're trailing, they're 7-29. They get a lot of runs early in the wins. They don't in the losses, and that run differential is really, really telling in the wins. Plus 251 in the losses, 137. They score a lot of runs in the wins, not so much in the losses, and you wonder what is causing it. It's just been kind of a roller coaster ride for this terrific offense. The consistency not there. 2 runs or less in those games. The Cardinals are 14 games below 500. The Reds are 9 over. The Pirates are 14 over. That's a telling stat, Dan. You got to win the low-scoring games, and they just haven't been this year.
Yeah, lots of numbers to think about. Hopefully the Cardinals won't have to worry about that tonight and pile up against Ryan Vogelsong. Cards-Giants, Game 3 coming up. Francisco and St. Louis, the two teams that have represented the National League the last 2 years in the World Series. Mike Matheny and the Cardinals are set to go. Baseball next. Brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Light. By your Mid-America Chevy dealers, the #1 selling brand in St. Louis. Find us at stlchevy.com. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Beautiful night for baseball here in the Gateway City. Glad you're with us. Game 3, St. Louis and San Francisco. The Giants, despite seeing terrific defense from the Cardinals last night, they picked up the win in Game 2. The Cardinals won in Game 1 after they knocked out Matt Cain. How about other games of note in the Central? Big one here. Ryan Braun going down to get it, driving in what would be the winning run eventually. 3-2, the Brewers hold on as they defeat the Reds. So the Cardinals start play 5.5 games out in the Central Division. And Joe Kelly, as Al told you moments ago, his numbers at home have been very good. This will be his 11th start overall, and his numbers brought to you by Enterprise Bank and Trust.
Ranks 4th among National League rookies with 7 quality starts. He had that streak stopped his last time out, but more importantly, picked up his 2nd win. So very good ERA here at home, and hopefully he can master this Giants, who really been kind of doing it with mirrors. They got a 1.5 lead over the Dodgers. They don't have a full complement of their offense, so they've been scratching out victories with their good pitching.
This is the lineup that he will see. Angel Pagan, who's had a good series. Marco Scutaro, then Melky Cabrera. Buster Posey, he has been the hottest hitter in the National League, arguably. Then Hunter Pence, Brandon Belt, Ryan Theriot, Brandon Crawford, and the pitcher Ryan Vogelsong. That's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Around the Horn, presented by Dobbs. Holiday, J. Beltran. Freeze Descalso on the left side. Green and Carpenter on the right side. Behind the plate, Yadier Molina. Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs. Mike Matheny going with a lineup that does not include Furcal, Berkman, and Alan Craig, as we got word late this afternoon. Alan not in the lineup after his 2 homers in the ballgame last night. That's a big loss offensively for St. Louis.
And really a very short bench, as Furcal got an injection today. Schumacher he's able to play, but he got hit late in the ball game in the hand, so he's got a little bone bruise.
talking with Schumacher today. Best case scenario would be the fact that he wouldn't have to pinch hit or even take the field. It's very sore. He's thankful there's no broken bones, but he is available if need be.
And Pakal probably the only one that is not available, but will be tomorrow.
Joe Kelly really gutted through his last start. As you see what Pagan has done with the home run and 3 hits in this series. Kelly hasn't gone very deep into games, byproduct of going deep into a lot of counts.
Well, he had 7 consecutive games where he went at least 6 innings. Last time out, he gave up 10 hits and 5 2/3 innings, broke that quality start streak. But more importantly, as you said, he gutted it out and ended up getting his 2nd win of the year.
What a pleasant surprise. Not many people thought that Joe Kelly would be a part of the rotation at any point this year, outside of maybe Joe Kelly. There's a swing and a miss. Pagan strikes out to start the game.
So he's displayed a good fastball. He's got a good changeup. Saw it right there. That neutralized a lot of the left-handed hitters, and his breaking ball is improving.
Al, it's been Carlos Martinez and Shelby Miller. Rosenthal, to an extent, getting most of the attention in the minor leagues, and not Joe Kelly. And Joe Kelly has been very steady since he's come up to the big leagues.
Yeah, you mentioned that maybe he thought he would be here, and I kind of think that's doubtful.
He told me that looking at this season, it was very similar to what Adam Wainwright did a few years ago, where he said, all right, it's time for me to make that jump, get over the hump. As you look at Marco Scutaro, who pops one foul, and if it's the big leagues, great, but I've got to be able to establish myself to where the organization is looking at me in any kind of role, but certainly advancing AAA to the major leagues.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, Wainwright was on the major league roster and was on their radar, where Joe Kelly is probably, can he make the jump to AAA?
Tough play here to get to it, and it's a row or 2 deep out of play. So 1-2 the count here on Scutaro.
So what Joe is doing, and what I've been impressed with, is he's not in awe of the major leagues. Confident, but not overly conky. And he's just going about his business, trying to be a sponge, trying to learn as much as possible. Biggest thing he's learned is it's much easier when you pitch ahead in the count.
1-2 the count. And really, he becomes less predictable. Even though it is a very good fastball, he's had inconsistencies with the breaking ball. The 1-2 pitch, fastball, and does not get the call.
97. He's in the top 5 of averaging 94 plus with his fastball and of starting pitching.
The 2-2 swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts to start the night for the right-hander Joe Kelly.
Hitting his spots down right on the black. I talked to Bruce Bochy today, and I said, you kind of do it with mirrors, and he agreed. They'll get Pablo Sandoval back, and that will help the middle of their order. They will get him back as early as probably Monday.
Tim McClellan is a nightmare for guys like me.
Explain why. I know why, but you explain.
Watch him get set, make the call, especially with strikes. He takes forever to make the call. He will then stand up and just give you the right hand up. Yep, that's a strike, but a second or two has passed, and hey, we're trying to figure it out. Balls or strikes.
And you're not going to change him because he's been doing that for 30 years.
Here's the 0-2, fouled back. Al Cabrera had never hit above 300 until last season. 305 with the Kansas City Royals. At the start of play tonight, he's at 353, and you see what he's done the last 6 games. Yankees didn't see this player, and to an extent, Kansas City did not either. Goes down to get it, breaks his bat. It's a base hit up the middle. brings in the cleanup hitter Buster Posey. Now has knocked out 18 home runs, and he's done it in this series. Game 1, and then last night a 3-run shot, and this would be all that San Francisco would need. That was in the first inning off of Lance Lynn.
He's hit safely in his last 11 games, over 430. He's just been on fire with RBIs, the most since the All-Star break.
And he pulls that for a base hit. Interesting to see where Joe Kelly pitched him. Last night they went away, 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 and that time they tried to go up and in. And there it is. He turns on it. Still a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, Molina is set up away, so that's where they wanted that ball to be. And it's up and in. He just turned on it. Good thing the way he's swinging the bat, it's just a single. Hunter Pence has really struggled since coming over from Philadelphia. We know he's very capable. 0 for 8 in this series.
Runners at first and second. There's a good breaking ball, sharp from Kelly.
Good pitch. And we all know from Hunter Pence, all the years that he was with Houston, that's what you try to do, is get ahead in the count, really give him a steady diet of breaking balls, even off the plate, and he'll chase. Make a mistake, though, he can hurt you.
They want to go inside. The 0-1 pitch taken low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Just hit 143, 4 for 28 in the 7 games wearing the Giant uniform, and he's really struggled with runners in scoring position also.
The Giants gave up 4 minor leaguers to get Hunter Pence. He's been an all-star before. He's now 29, from Fort Worth, Texas. Made his major league debut with Houston back in 2007. In the hole, 1-2.
Hunter Pence had 22 home runs, 97 RBIs a year ago. And he has, as mentioned, struggled with runners in scoring position. Just 4 for his last 21, a 190 average. There you see what he's done in the last 10 games, and that's including the tail end of his Phillies day.
Runners at first and second. Kelly, a changeup. Evens it up. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 on, 2 outs, just underway here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. We've talked so much about Wainwright, his innings. Lance Lynn, that's been talked about. And now you can throw in that conversation Joe Kelly as well. Primarily in his career, he's been a bullpen guy. Did that in college and now in the starting rotation. Here's a ground ball left side and off the glove of Descalso into left field. Base hit, RBI, Hunter Pence. And the Giants once again grab the lead. Done that every game of this series.
I'm sure Cabrera was going to score either way, but Descalso just getting a little piece of it helped out the Giants. Hanging breaking balls to elevate a little bit. Descalso getting that, it slowed it up and getting to Holiday. I'm sure Cabrera would have scored easily. And you appreciate the effort by Daniel and David Freese.
Brandon Belt batting .248. Runners at first and second. Well, he hit it twice, but it's only strike 1. Tapped it, hit the dirt, came back up on his backswing. He hit it. He's 4 for 7. A couple of steals in this series.
His first multi-steal game last night. I got the impression that when Sandoval comes back, he's going to be playing first base.
Yes. 0-2. He will be a difference maker in this lineup. We were thinking that Aubrey Huff would be a guy that could go back to the way that he was a couple of years ago, contribute. Healthy Sandoval. They add Pence. They've got Posey back healthy. And Melky Cabrera is an MVP candidate. You have that offensively, mix in their very good pitching, and they've got a shot.
Defense is tightened up.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Now back end of games, we saw Affeldt last night, but they are missing truly one of the best closers in baseball, Brian Wilson, who's been dealing with multiple surgeries now.
And they lost him very early in the season, so Castillo has 20+ saves.
Here's a fly ball out to left. Will carry to the track, and the catch is made by Holiday. 3 consecutive singles, 1-0 Giants. John Jay, Matt Carpenter, and then Matt Holliday. Beltran, Freeze, Molina, Descalso, Green, and Kelly to follow. Ryan Vogelsong. Been a long time since he had been in the major leagues. He made the club for San Francisco out of spring training last year. Enterprise Bank and Trust starter. He spent time in Japan trying to rediscover the form that made him one of the top picks for the Pirates, where he was not very good there.
Well, he used to throw in the mid-90s, and now he's really learned how to pitch. He's had all the adversity, all that experience in the minor leagues. Throws about in the 90-mile-an-hour range, but he will really change speeds, locate much better than when he was younger. He's got a wealth of knowledge. And I said that he's almost got a little chip on his shoulder because he leads the National League in ERA, and he felt he should have been on the All-Star team, didn't make it, so he's using that as motivation in the right way.
Here's the 0-2. Taken low by Jay. He's had a fine series both at the plate. 6 for 8. He was 4 for 4 in game 1. And he made a dazzling catch on the run in left center last night to save 2 runs.
Team played very well defensively.
And that's a base hit into right. In his young career, he has been outstanding against the San Francisco Giants, and that has carried over to this 4-game series. Meet the Giants defensively tonight. Cabrera, Pagan, Pence in the outfield. Same 3 we've seen the last 2 nights. Then Scudero, Crawford, Terrio, and Belt. Buster Posey behind the plate. And Ryan Vogelsong on the mound. That's presented by Dobbs. We saw Terrio as a pinch hitter and also one start in this series. Mentioned it earlier that Buster Posey has had success at the plate, but teams have had success against him running. Will the Cardinals do that tonight? Be a little bit more aggressive with some of the bigger bats not in this lineup.
And Posey on the season is about 26% of throwing out runners, but it's what he's done lately, where he's only thrown out 6 of his last 27 attempted base stealers. So be aggressive, because Vogelsong can get a lot of ground balls. Pitches very well at night. Good ERA at night, and great ERA for the season. Leads the National League second in baseball.
See Jay just flinching over there, trying to get in the head of Vogelsong as he delivers to the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fine year for Matt Carpenter in his first full season. .293 average, 4 home runs. He's driven in 25. 8 of the 25 have come as a pinch hitter. Not running the 1-1 pitch. Double play ball. Out at second. Nifty footwork at short by Cabrera. So they turn the double play off the bat of Matt Carpenter, and with 2 outs it brings in Holiday. Last 2 at bats for Carpenter have been double plays last night and this one here.
Look at right there. Vogelsong knew who was covering. You throw it right over the bag. You throw it up about chest high. His shortstop was right there with momentum going across the bag and towards first base. So a nice nifty play right there, and another indication maybe he should be running a little bit more and avoid that double play.
2 outs, nobody on for Matt Holiday. Day, night, doesn't matter. Big numbers for Matt. The 1-0 pitch. And we will have day baseball tomorrow. And you would have to assume a hot afternoon here at Busch Stadium tomorrow.
I think one more day of hot weather, and then mid-80s on Friday when the team will be in Philadelphia.
Right when we leave. Broken bat, hit to short. Crawford has it. And the Cardinals are retired. We head to the second. San Francisco leads it by a run. In this series, and again they trail after an inning of play, 1-0. Outscored 6-0 first inning this homestand, but yet the 4-1 record. Majority of that done by the Giants. August 17th, the Coke Zero Walmart team banner giveaway. Pirates will be here. Big weekend series. Precore camera photo day. Also run the bases is that weekend. Cardinals.com. Cardinals really control their own destiny. 2 months to go, just about. And you've got all the home games that we've talked about here in St. Louis. And then they go on the road. There's a 10-game road trip that they'll have with Washington, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. And that may define the year.
That's right. That's early September. They have enough games left to catch anybody ahead of them. But you're just going to have to play good, solid baseball.
Ryan Theriot hitless in his return to town. Signed as a free agent this offseason.
Very happy with him. You know, the real professional. Made an impact in their clubhouse like he did with the Cardinals a year ago.
After Joe Kelly walked off the mound after the top of the first, we saw a conversation with Mike Matheny and Tim McClellan. And you have to wonder if they were questioning, if Joe Kelly was questioning the strike zone of McClellan. And then McClellan making sure that he got word back to Joe Kelly through his manager. Just worry about pitching.
Yeah. I'll call the game. And it's not a characteristic we've seen from Joe Kelly, but.
Ground ball to short. Descalso makes the play.
Tyson was good enough when he struck out the first 2 batters.
So a ground out for the first out. Again, Rafael Furcal dealing with his sore back, not in the lineup tonight. And that means it's Descalso at short. Daniel was saying the other day that Jose Oquendo has been instrumental in turning him into a better defensive player, not just at third base where he's very comfortable, but also at short and at second base. This is Brandon Crawford. Remember, in spring training, the Cardinals had Cora, who they thought would make the team and be a backup at short. The Redbirds felt a lot more comfortable with Descalso, that he would grow into that role if need be, and sure enough, we've seen that happen.
I remember Daniel was supposed to be the kind of the super sub, play any spot in the infield, and I wouldn't be afraid to put him in the outfield. But what really defines a utility player is the ability to play shortstop. If you can't play short, you can't really be a true utility player. And working with Oquendo, and Oquendo is very confident that he can turn anybody into a good defensive player, and it's worked for Descalso.
Here's a 1-2. Ground ball sharply hit the second, and Green makes the play. Jose Oquendo talked about that Descalso has been reading hitters much better this year, and also has an understanding of the pitching staff. And he said that's been a real key. If you understand what your guy on the mound has and seeing the signs, you can position yourself and cheat, so to speak, a little bit depending on the hitter. And that will give you that extra half step that allows you to get to some balls that maybe you wouldn't.
I can remember watching Jose Oquendo play second base, and there'd be time before the pitch was made, he was moving left to right because he knew.
Couple of ground ball outs to Tyler Green. It's Beltran, Freese, and Molina coming up. Midwest girls to watch the Cards and Phils game from Chaffetz Arena, the Ultimate Guys Weekend. Find out more, ultimateguysweekend.net for more information. One to nothing, the Giants have the lead. And Carlos Beltran will be the hitter.
Carlos, 9-game hitting streak, 4 home runs during that time. Leads the National League in RBIs, second in home runs. Tremendous year, and he's an all-around player. Documented his throwing in our Open.
Former Met, Royal, Astro, now Cardinal, Carlos Beltran.
Finished with the Giants last season. Traded from the Mets to the Giants, and they really found what we have found, what an outstanding individual that he is.
1-1 pitch. Right now it's Beltran and Posey going back and forth for the RBI lead in the National League. We were in San Francisco early this year on the schedule, and Carlos got off to a red hot start. There's a little controversy about him not coming back. There's a fly ball out to left as Cabrera has plenty of room to make the catch. Speaking of Carlos Beltran, as we noted in the Open, as you mentioned, Al, been talking about those throws. How do you receive the throws like David Freese has done from Beltran and many others?
You know, when you try and deke a runner, I think it all starts with where the ball's coming from. And, you know, we've had Beltran out there getting the ball in quick, and 2 great relays. And, you know, you can't put on a tag without a good relay, and it just kind of sets it up. You know, that's a tough gig for a runner to kind of understand, you know, the play behind them. So you just try and do what you can to, you know, get the out.
See there that Tim Flannery was telling his runner, it's coming, get down, and not so much though in Colorado, did we?
No, it didn't get a lot of help at all. Eric Young by his third base coach.
Tim Flannery, the third base coach with the Giants.
Schumacher had that awesome received the throw from Beltran and a real strong throw over to David Freese and another deke. When Cabrera tried to stretch that double into a triple.
Here's a 2-0 pitch to Freese. Taken low. And it is a strike ruled by Tim McClellan. The board here at the ballpark has 3-0. I thought it looked like a ball, and it looks like David is questioning the strike zone as well. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Freese shoots it into right field. Pence coming on to make the catch.
And I don't know if you remember, Vogelsong originally signed the 5th round of the 1998 first-year player draft by Pittsburgh, and then he was traded to, from San Francisco, by San Francisco, traded to Pittsburgh in the Mondo Rios, and returned such a lopsided. Jason Schmidt was a great pitcher for, you know, once he left Pittsburgh, and also John Vanderwall, one of the premier pinch hitters. And it was a nightmare for Vogelsong in the Pittsburgh uniform. Jason Schmidt became one of the premier pitchers in the National League. And Vanderwall, I think Rios got hurt in about the 2nd or 3rd game after that trade.
Yachty taps one foul, 0-2, 2 outs, nobody on. Ryan Vogelsong from 2006, only 33 starts. Look at the team record of games that he pitched in, 29 and 91. Again, 29 and 91.
That's a nightmare. And since he's been with the Giants, you know, he came out of nowhere last year. He's been to the minor leagues for a ton of time, went to Japan. A lot of guys would have quit, but he kept on persevering and became an all-star last year, and this year. He's currently leading the National League in ERA, and as I said, second best in all of baseball.
Here's a 1-2. Put in play, a hot shot. Crawford, nice play. Soft hand spinning, and with time, he gets Yadier Molina. We head to the third. Top of the lineup coming up for the Giants. From AT&T Uverse, visit att.com/freeyourtv. Rethink possible. MyKiaSt.Louis.com. And get the All-American Jack Combo at Jack in the Box. It's a no-nonsense burger with fries and a drink for only $4.99 plus tax at participating stores. It's a 1-0 lead for San Francisco. The Cardinals without some big bats in the lineup here this evening, and late in the afternoon they got word that Alan Craig would not be a part of this ball game tonight, and who knows how long he'll be out. More on that. Let's check in with Jim Hayes. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Dan. You know, Alan Craig is hitting .333 over his last 5 games, had a couple of homers last night, so it was surprising he wasn't in tonight's starting lineup. Craig himself was surprised when he found out earlier today. Turns out Craig has been playing through an injury since he got banged up chasing a foul ball in Cincinnati. John Mozeliak says Craig has soreness around his chest and rib area. X-rays were negative. Mo says that Craig is day-to-day, although he is available to pinch hit tonight, according to Mo.
And it has to be disappointing as we get a look at Pagan for Alan Craig, Jim, after last night, as you mentioned, the 2 home runs, not to be in the lineup, and he has been one of the real solid contributors and an RBI machine this year.
He's been great, and he's been great apparently while hurt. You know, a lot of times players go through some injury things that we don't know anything about. They just keep quiet about it and play, and he was doing it and being quite productive. But I think they want to take care of it, give him a little rest, and see if it gets any better.
All right, Jim, thanks. And on this homestand, Alan Craig with 7 hits, including the 2 solo shots that we saw last night. It's a big loss not in this lineup.
No doubt, but if he's able to come off the bench and contribute, but that's a little bit of a short bench. Talked about Schumacher with hit by a pitch in the hand late in the game. For Call, got a cortisone injection today, so he's not available.
One ball and 2 strikes on Pagan. Scudero is on deck, and then Cabrera. Nice crowd on hand here at Busch Stadium. And the 1-2 pitch. Ground ball up the middle, and it's off of Green. Would have been very tough for him to get to Pagan. who can really fly down the line. Has not been an easy year for Tyler Green.
Gets to this one, got just a piece of it. So athletic. Probably the best athlete on the Cardinal roster. I think he tried to give him the second base job in spring training, kind of spit the hook. And
limited duty now. Here's Marco Scutaro, and that is thrown away as Carpenter couldn't pick it. And Pagan, who can run, will wind up at third. Cardinals throwing it all over the place. That ball got by Descalso back into the infield, but no damage done. It's an error on Kelly, and Pagan winds up at third base.
Just threw a sinker right there, and Carpenter tried to backhand it. It gets by him, and two base error allows him to get to third. Flannery talking over all situations. See how they play it in the infield, as they look like they're going to play back.
Tim Flannery was with Bruce Bochy for a number of years in San Diego, now in his 6th season with the Giants.
Like best friends, but Bochy fired his best friend at one point when they were together in San Diego. Reunited and having a nice little run again.
He has released 11 albums.
I know.
Accomplished musician down at third base. And that's a base hit into right. Scutaro and the Giants lead it 2-0. 5 hits allowed by Kelly. RBI number 37 for the former Rocky.
Scutaro's been a good pickup. 94 down on the bottom of the strike zone. Just shoots to right field. He's been producing since he came over to the Giants. Cabrera already with 1 hit tonight. He leads the majors with 153 hits and 50 multi-hit games.
Cardinals would love the double play. Cabrera with a single and a run scored first time up, and this time he pops it up. Freeze wants it. 1 away. In steps the catcher, Buster Posey. Fifth overall pick back in 2008. And last season only played in 45 games because of the ankle injury he suffered. And he grounds it to short. Can they turn 2? Out at second. Double play turned by Tyler Green very nicely. Second time that Posey has hit into a double play in this 4-game set. loves the St. Louis community. He actually accepted less money to stay in St. Louis, play for the Cardinals because of the fan base and what it means to him. And these folks right there throwing out the ceremonial first pitches, Sean and Jamie Stutzman. We've heard so much about baby Risa. That's their baby there. And Skip played baseball as a lifelong friend of Sean. Baby Risa, terminal disease. As Descalso skies one towards center. It's called Krabbe disease, Krabbe. And it breaks down the nervous system. And eventually, children do pass away, normally before the age of 2. Risa just turned 1. And Skip and his teammates, through a fundraiser, have raised over $200,000 to make sure that family is out of debt. And with the remaining money, which will be a lot, they are going to start a foundation in Risa's name, terminally ill children. And it's wonderful what Skip has done using his celebrity here in town. And he's told it to me so many times. He said, I'm from California. If I tried to do this, my hometown even, no way would I get the support that I've gotten from my teammates and, most importantly, the fan base here in St. Louis. Because of this, Al, we put together a radio feature that's carried on the network, and folks have seen our coverage on Fox Sports Midwest as you get a look at numbers of Tyler Green, family in mid-Missouri, who also had a baby suffer from Krabbe disease and since has passed. But they've tried to get legislation through the House in the state of Missouri to where all babies will be tested for this. It is preventable, and they hope through this horrific ordeal that they've been through that a positive will come out of it, which is hopefully having families take recognition to test for Krabbe disease.
It's my understanding that family's name is the Cunninghams, and they have really gotten that bill through the legislature. It hasn't been enacted yet, but it's the same blood test, that little heel test that babies have, and there won't be any additional blood taken. They're just, with that test there, they'll just put the Krabbe disease on that, and if it's caught early enough, it is preventable.
Beautiful little girl too.
Yeah.
So well done by Skip and the Stutzmans, and we appreciate them being here. The Cardinals joined in. Big check presentation. 2-2 the count here on Tyler Green.
Talk about what the Cardinals do.
The Cardinals actually had field box level seats, and majority of those seats are filled tonight. And they lowered the price of that ticket to $20, and then half of that went to the fight against Krabbe disease. So they've added to that. Cardinals Care also wrote a big check.
Mike Matheny's golf tournament, half went to his catch 22, and the other half went to the Stutzmans
and he had never even met that family.
No,
but he decided to do that.
But out of respect for Skip Schumacher, he said, "This is what we're going to do."
Here's a 2-2 pitch, and Green slices one down the right field line. It has got to be tough right now for Tyler Green to stay sharp in any form or fashion. Defense, at the plate, timing on running, stealing bases, whatever the case may be. He has not seen a lot of playing time.
Well, how about if we put it this way? This is his first appearance on the homestand. Does have a 2-game hitting streak, but as far a lot of bench time waiting for that.
Time is called.
Matt Carpenter only 2 at-bats on the homestand. Great to have a set lineup, but you got to keep your spare parts active too.
2-2 pitch. Follow the Cardinals with MLB.com @Pat12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry, and Windows Mobile. Text @Pat to 31826. And follow Fox Sports Midwest in our coverage of Cardinals baseball. Vogelsong is one of those pitchers that is always talking to himself. See him mumbling out on the mound, talking to himself about his mechanics, pitch selection, his delivery. And he was saying the other day that he even at times will be talking in his windup. He does a count, slow count. When he hits 6, he knows if he hasn't released it, everything should be okay.
Now, most people don't have to count. They can just do it with muscle memory, have a repeatable delivery. But he has had to go through an awful lot to get to where he is. So if this is what he has to do to be successful, you do it.
And the 1-2 is swung on and missed. Joe Kelly strikes out. 2 on the night for Vogelsong. 2-0 lead, Giants.
Farm fresh tomatoes, and they're in season right now. They're at your neighborhood Schnucks dealer. The Tice Farm and the greenhouses in Maryland Heights supply Schnucks stores, and so does the Donahue Sunshine Farms from Collinsville, Illinois. The Pin Oak Farms from New Haven, Missouri. Get the pick of the tomato crop right at your neighborhood store. Farm fresh, local produce. That's the Schnucks difference.
Folks enjoying the game tonight in Big Mac land, and don't forget, McDonald's is offering $1 off discounts on McCafe products from 2 to 5 every day. That means smoothies and shakes, the ice drinks. We're having some fun. That shot up in Big Mac land. Mom, Dad with their 2 little ones. You think there's no way we'll get a souvenir in Big Mac land, but we are here to tell you we've seen it.
I'd rather see it when the Cardinals are hitting. Get our timing straight.
A 2-0 lead for San Francisco. A slider to Hunter Pence underway here in the top of the 4th. Pence with an RBI single off the glove of Freese and then off the glove of Descalso for a base hit. 2 balls and no strikes. Now, we've heard from scouts at times, they say that Joe Kelly will rush it and sometimes gets a little ahead of himself as Pence hits a fly ball into shallow left. Who wants it? John Jay, last second, makes the catch.
Not uncommon for a young pitcher. You come up here and like you say, get your mechanics a little out of whack. When you're rushing like that, your arm's going to be dragging. You'll always be a little bit higher and out of the strike zone. John Jay, who's played spectacular in the field, and like all good center fielders, you take charge out there.
Brandon Belt takes a pitch a little low. Originally drafted as a pitcher by the Boston Red Sox. And he can hit a bit too. Line drive into right center field. Belt stops at second base. 1 out hit brings in Terrio. Belt is 1 for 2 on the night.
Low ball hitter. Gets the ball down below the belt. Plugs the gap out into right center and comes up with his 16th double. Terry on a little bit of a funk right now, as he's batting about 170 in his past 12 games if you count this one. 0 for 1 tonight.
Signed by the Giants as a minor league free agent. That crossed up Molina, looking for something else. 2 balls and no strikes.
Sure looked like it, and now they'll go out there. Kelly took a couple steps off the mound and said, "Uh-oh, I did something wrong." He was expecting a slider, and he got the fastball, and it shows you how good he is that a lot of catchers would have let that ball go to the backstop.
Good way to get Molina hurt too. Guy throwing this hard, trying to make the adjustment to make that catch. 2-0 is the count.
And sometimes at night, you know, he wears the goggles when he's on the mound, but not when he hits. But Kelly, sometimes you can't. You have trouble seeing the signals.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. By Terrio, now 32 years of age, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, former product of the LSU Tigers.
Remember, he and Fontenot used to be the double play combination for the Cubs. They both were on national championship team at LSU.
Here's a 2-1. 2-2. Admittedly, Terrio was meeting with the media 2 days ago and understanding that a lot of the media wanted to see him. First time he'd been back in St. Louis since the World Series, and he said, "I was frustrated in how I played, but yet I had never enjoyed myself any more than my time in St. Louis." And he said, "I had better years in Chicago. I enjoyed my time there, but anytime you win a championship, it's special." Hit .271 in 132 games last year for the Cardinals, and primarily was at shortstop.
And a lot of fans just can't wait after seeing what happened over the weekend, the 30-year celebration of the '82 team. Fans can't wait to see Terrio and his teammates come back, you know, from last year's championship, the '06 team. There won't be a 50-year anniversary for the '82 team.
Here's a 2-2 on its way. Just guides it into right, but out of play. We forget just how good Terrio was against the Phillies in that division series. He was 6 out of 10 in that series.
He's one of those guys that, you know, gets overlooked. You know, you have the star players and everything, but all of a sudden you'll look down and you'll say, boy, he was a table setter here, or he got a key hit, drive in somebody, or extended a rally. You know, a greater appreciation for him as a player and a person after watching him play last season. And he couldn't have handled himself any better when call came and really diminished his playing time. He was a real pro at that, handling that.
Every general manager talks about it, especially if you have a winning team. They do not want to disrupt chemistry. They make a deal, you bring a guy in, you don't want to disrupt that chemistry, and Terrio made sure that did not happen.
And you just get the feeling now that they changed signs when they called in Descalzo, changed signs with a man at second base, and made sure their shortstop knew what the new signs were.
The 2-2 on its way to Ryan Theriot from Joe Kelly.
Good pitch in on the hands.
Just exploding back in on the hands. There's a look at John Mozeliak, who met with the media at around 6 o'clock with the news of Alan Craig, who's not in the lineup tonight.
See how far inside, almost a self-defense swing. Do you repeat back in or do you go away? So take a look at Alan Craig and Shane Robinson. Back in.
We should repeat the news with Alan Craig. If you're wondering, you just got home and turn on your TV and you say, where is Alan Craig after 2 home runs last night? He's been dealing with an injury, upper body, and he's after a foul ball against Cincinnati. And he himself, we understand, was a little bit surprised he wasn't in the lineup, but they knew the questions would come after such a productive night. So he addressed the media and said it's day-to-day at this point and hope to get him back soon. Strikeout of McClellan.
There's your delayed call.
Watch Tim McClellan make this call. Theriot is almost out of the box. Steps back. What? There's the strikeout.
He's been doing that for a long, long time. He used to be one of the American League umpires before they came under the umbrella of Major League umpires. Crew chief, and it can be frustrating.
Swing and a miss by Crawford.
You mentioned that Crawford really got off to a poor start defensively. And I was talking to Tim Flannery about that, and I said, what's the biggest thing? Was the game moving too fast for him? And he said yes. So they had a lot of rookies. Everything was kind of at a quicker pace. Now he's kind of settled in, and they're seeing his good defense of late.
Fans really pulling for him, and I know people were wondering the numbers that he put up. Why was he among the leaders for all-star votes? San Francisco was very good about all their players, but he's a fan favorite. He's from Menlo Park, which is about 30 miles south of the ballpark, and he grew up a Giants fan.
Are you saying they stuffed the ballot boxes?
I would say the internet ballot box got a workout. Click, click, click.
That's very close to Silicon Valley. All the technology out there. Somebody found a way to get everybody. Hundreds of thousands of votes.
It's fouled back. 0-2. 95 on that pitch by Kelly. Crawford, a 4th-round pick in 2008 from UCLA. His sister is engaged to Garrett Cole. He's the former #1 overall pick by the Pirates. They have some very good young pitching coming up through their system, led by Cole. Here's the 0-2 pitch.
Remember a few years ago there was a article that was written about how much money the Pirates were receiving in the pool money, and basically they accused them of pocketing it. But since that time they have spent a lot of money on signing some of the top and some of the best draft choices.
To their credit, it was the most of any franchise, I believe, last year before this year's draft.
And then this year they had where every team had a slotted system, how much they could pay. I kind of like that idea.
A better idea of the fairness and where guys should be slotted. 1-2 pitch. And you have to wait for Tim McClellan, and it's 2-2.
And there's where Kelly, assuming he had a strikeout, was ready to go into the dugout, but not too fast, young man.
Runner at second base. That's Brandon Belt. 2-2 pitch. And a hot shot to first. Carpenter steps on the bag, takes it himself. The Giants have stranded 3. We're midway through 4 at Busch Stadium. 2-0 San Francisco. Boys and Girls Club of America. And if you'd like to learn more about the Boys and Girls Club of America, visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Ryan Vogelsong. Pitching a shutout thus far.
John Jay led off the game for the Cardinals with a base hit, raced in a double play, and he's retired everybody else.
$11 for 23 in his last 6 games against San Francisco. Mentioned in game 1 he was 4 for 4. And he just adds on. Good to see him just slap that the other way. And with this little surge, his average is above 300.
That's great to see. Remember, he got off to a tremendous start and ran into the wall. Eventually that became so sore, the shoulder, that he had to go on the disabled list. And his average really dipped down, but swinging a hot bat again. And I think when we showed that graphic, 478, I think that's his career number against the Giants.
Starting his career very well could be. Now it's Carpenter who bounced into a double play first time up. You talked about the lack of respect that Vogelsong has gotten and perceives it to be. And I think the thing that frustrated him the most, and now you can really appreciate this, is that his own peers did not put him in the All-Star game. Wasn't the media, wasn't fans, but his peers.
And that's a good point, you know, because everyone does know his story, and it was such a Cinderella story last year. He went to spring training. He really pitched his way onto the ball club, but Bruce Bochy said, you know, hey, we're the world champions. I got to go with the guys that got me here. But then when Zito got hurt, it was his opening, and he gets called up and then became an all-star last year, leading the National League in ERA.
Runner goes. Late swing by Carpenter. Throw to second. Got him.
See, McClellan, it didn't make any difference because Posey throws out John Jay, but McClellan could have called interference as Carpenter falls across the plate and interfering with the throw. It was a tough pitch for Carpenter to try and get something done. It's a high pitch, good pitch to for a catcher to throw, and hard to catch up with that pitch there. Just trying to fool it. So he was trying to protect the runner. So much for the poor throwing of Buster Posey.
Pretty athletic throw too at that.
Yeah. Now he did have that pitch up and away is easy to throw. Usually you want it up and away with a right-handed batter, but he got it off quickly.
3-1. Mention how he's trying to protect. With Jay looking back in, you have to think maybe hit and run there.
Well, it was definitely a hit and run.
Sure, chasing that pitch up and away and just trying to foul it. And here comes a 3-1 pitch. It is ball 4. It's the first walk issued by Ryan Vogelsong.
Close, but just a little low. And Carpenter wasn't sure. He wanted to make sure that. So it even messes up with the pitchers and batters when McClellan calls it. And it's also an indication that he doesn't say something verbally and then give that sign to us. He's not telling the hitters or the pitchers until he stands up and takes a second. It's your favorite umpire, isn't he?
I actually have enjoyed talking to Tim McClellan. I really do.
Well, I mean talking to him, but when you're doing play-by-play and he's behind the plate, it's a different story.
He is frustrating, Al.
Yes.
I've talked to him. He's done a number of events. He lives, I believe, in Iowa. And he does a number of events in the off-season to help local charities. And he and George Brett have actually done events together. And he told me that George would not talk to him for a number of years. And then finally, George did. And then those two have become friends over the years. And what we're alluding to is the famous pine tar incident at Yankee Stadium. Billy Martin, George Brett, and Tim McClellan made that decision. The famous video of Brett going crazy out of the dugout and arguing with the umpires.
Now, are you insinuating that players hold grudges?
Yes. Yes, I am, Al.
And I'm here to confirm it.
I see how you are with certain guys. Sure. You get along with most of them, though.
But there's a couple. Wait till the next old timers game.
Here's the 0-2. Instead, it's 1-2.
People always ask me, who's the toughest hitter you ever faced? And I said, I make a joke and I say, well, one day I was swinging a bat and that reflection scared me. But I said, I can't answer that. It's a negative question. What happens if I was facing a guy in an old timers game and I said this guy gave me fits? He'd have an unfair advantage against me in an old timers game.
Al, did you need to be reminded that it was an old-timers game? It doesn't count. But your pride was on the line.
Well, let me also tell you a little story about Bob Gibson. Bob one time hit Pete Lecoq 3 times in a game. Hit him first time because he didn't like him. Hit him the next 2 times because he said, why me? Now, Pete Lecoq got even with him because the great Bob Gibson and his tremendous career, the last pitch he threw in a major league game, Pete Lecoq hit a grand slam off him. The first time Gibson faced him in an old timers game, he drilled him.
Anybody that watched Bob Gibson at that time, I'm sure that's not a surprise whatsoever.
And there were players that told Pete it was going to happen.
And Pete's response was, no way, it's an old-timers game, right?
Probably.
Well, will the Cardinals start the runner here? 3-2 on Holiday. Beltran on deck. Runner at first is Matt Carpenter as his crowd tries to get into it. Very quiet this far. Not running, and the pitch is fouled. Game is played different.
pitchers used to intimidate hitters, and today hitters intimidate pitchers. And part of that is umpiring has taken the inside pitch away, but pitchers used to have the liberty of throwing inside to intimidate. Ask a Gibson, ask a Drysdale.
And that's taken for ball 4. 2 walks, and they are back to back. And you are asking for trouble. Here is Beltran. It's Ask the Umpire Week. Tomorrow will come your way at noon. Pre-game show right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Vogelsong has been so good this year. Leads the league in ERA. Opponents hitting .219 against him. That's in the top 5. Tonight being his 21st start, he has worked at least 6 innings in those games. Only twice has he allowed more than 4 runs. And the list goes on and on. That's how good he has been.
Good rip, good pitch. Just got in enough on Beltran to foul it back.
And Al, you may be wondering, why is he just 9-5 with those gaudy numbers? And when you look at those starts, it's clear it's run support. He has not got a lot of support from his offense.
When you looked at the Giants, you knew that offensively they were not going to score that many runs.
0-1 pitch. Beltran crushes it down the right field line. He was ready for it, but pulled it foul. 0-2.
Just got inside enough that all he could do was yank it foul. So set up inside. He gets it inside just enough. Fights it off, pulls it foul, and long out. How about that? Opponents with 2 strikes, a 129 batting average. 9th best in major leagues.
Popped up left side and out of play. And really, Vogelsong, maybe a product of playing in the West Coast, and also because of his past, in many ways he's ignored by the media. Top 3 in the National League ERA last year. Also finished 1, 2, and 3 in Cy Young voting. Vogelsong finished 4th in ERA, 11th in Cy Young voting. 3 guys on his staff had more votes than he did. His own staff. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Ground ball to second. Out there, Beltran is safe at first. Gets down the line. That will extend the inning to David Freese.
Got the ground ball he wanted. And see him running hard. You know, he's got those bad knees. They've told him at times, hey, be careful. It's more important for you to stay healthy to play every day. But there he knew that he had to keep race down there and keep this inning alive for David Freese.
Mentioned that the fastball has declined in velocity for Vogelsong, but what has really improved has been command from his days in Pittsburgh and his curveball. It's considered one of the better curveballs now in the National League. That's it out of play.
David Freese, very good in this situation, driving in runs with 2 outs. One of the top hitters in the National League. 29 2-out RBIs. That's 4th best in the National League. And Vogelsong has really learned how to pitch.
There's the 0-1. Now it's 0-2. Found it interesting. Dave Righetti the other day talking about Vogelsong, and he said he compared him to Mark Fidrich. And he said the reason why is because he believes that most pitchers think about mechanics on the mound. He said Vogelsong, you'll visually see him pointing at the plate, pointing at himself, knocking himself on the head, little things because he's always talking to himself. We haven't seen all of that tonight, but generally that's what they do see. Remember the bird?
Oh, good friend. Good friend. And
Freeze. Oh, how about this play? Long throw. Oh, he got him. Outstanding play by Crawford at short. Takes a hit and RBI away. You cannot do it any better than this. Crawford deep in the hole and a strong throw to get David Freeze. Pittsburgh, and we've got Creve Court Camera Photo Day, and you'll be on the field taking pictures of the players, management, FredbirdCardinals.com to get your tickets. Big series, Cards and Pirates coming up 17th, 18th, and 19th of this month. Interesting here, 41-8, the Cardinals record when leading after 3 innings. Winning percentage of .837 when they trail 7-29.
Well, the Cardinals are very good at getting leads, and they have outscored their opponents by quite a bit in the first 3 innings. That's why it was such a good winning percentage when they're leading. Not so good when they're trying to come from behind. And it's very apparent the Cardinals really have to score 4 runs in order to win.
Vogelsong knocks it out of play. Big Cardinal fans, Teresa and Greg Casper had an 8-pound, 12-ounce healthy baby boy, Max, today. Our newest Cardinal fan, so congratulations to Teresa and Greg Casper, Cardinal fans, celebrating the birth of their baby boy, Max. 2-2 the count. Al, you are a man of the people, and I have seen that. You always are willing to shake hands, take a photo, sign autographs, and you sign it very clearly. The Mad Hungarian, Al Raboski. But our email the booth question, it's not about any of those 3. But apparently you are a lucky charm. Don't I know it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Green makes the play. It's our carsoup.com email the booth. Al received a kiss at a Rams game on Halloween, and after that kiss, Linda, Salem, Illinois, won $93,000 at the casino.
Well, first of all, where's my cut? All right, where's my cut? Now, first of all, I know she gave me a kiss because if I gave her a kiss, she'd have to get rabies shots. And now, Linda, I hate to tell you, but I wasn't at the Rams game on Halloween. I was with Westland. I took him trick-or-treating. Good. I'm a good pawpaw. So I'm glad I was a lucky charm, or my substitute was.
Linda probably wasn't thinking that email would make air, and now Uncle Sam is looking for a Linda in Salem.
I'll get in line behind Uncle Sam.
Pagan with a ground ball to short. Descalso to his left, and he makes the play, and he stepped on Carpenter, it looked like. He's hobbling around first base.
Been a little bit. So he goes to his left. He's showing a really strong arm. This time it just a little bit. Look, he almost turned his ankle.
That's what it was.
That's what it was. As his rolled on his ankle there. And a lot of times you'll feel that for a second or two and you kind of walk it off.
Here is Marco Scudero. Thank goodness that Danny Martinez filters all those emails that come through. He picks the best of the day, and that was the best for this particular night. There'll be so many people on the streets after tonight chasing you down, trying to get a kiss. Forget the autograph. They want the kiss.
Well, you know,
you are looking.
I'm planning on winning the Powerball tonight, so.
June, pucker up. Here's a 1-2 pitch and a ground ball. Another chance for Descalso. Gloves and makes the play. Al is the new kissing bandit of Fox Sports Midwest. Tonight and around the ballpark. Don't forget about finding the seats you want to any game. Home Road, StubHub, official fan-to-fan marketplace of the Cardinals. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you, Jim Hayes as well. And this is popped up on the first pitch by Molina. Nice play by Terrio. Fair territory, runs it down for the out.
Long run right there, but wasn't called off by his right fielder, so you stay with it and makes a nice catch. Hunter Pence and Terrio talking about it, but you can see where he's positioned. So watch how far he runs. Hunter's charging hard, but easier angle for Terrio. And he's the only one that really got to it.
Daniel Descalso takes a ball high and away. We will be in the city of brotherly love this weekend. Citizens Bank Park. Cards and Phillies. And we mentioned the other night how it's been a struggle this year for the Phillies. As Descalso hits a fly ball into shallow left, 2 away. Saw the reaction of Brian Terrio after the pop-up of Molina. Long way to go. Ooh, I just got it. Here's Tyler Green. Consecutive sold-out crowd streak in Philly came to a close.
Really?
Just came to a close.
Be interesting to see what the reaction is of the Philly fans. Kept their pitching staff intact, but let some of the key players go.
Shane Victorino.
Hence.
You know, when the Dodgers made these moves and you thought that would pay immediate dividends. Big moves, not just little ones. I mean, those are guys that can make a huge difference with their team. And thus far, that has not been the case. 1-1 pitch, and that's a foul ball.
And Ramirez and Victorino.
Those are 2 significant players.
Second half, they got Kemp and Ethier back off the disabled list. Then you make those trades, and I think that's going to improve their team. Now, Victorino is just a super teammate and everything else, but a lot of people question, would Hanley Ramirez, you know, be a distraction in the clubhouse? Sometimes you could add the wrong ingredients.
Here's a 1-2. And that is a strikeout of Tyler Green. We played 5, 2-0 San Francisco. Sports Midwest is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. and by Ford, the official vehicles of the world champion St. Louis Cardinals. Look at Market Street, downtown St. Louis. The Cardinals trailing by the score of 2-0.
I was just thinking, look at that shot. Great place to have a parade.
And we've seen it.
I'd like to see another one. 12-12.
Fans have certainly done their part. They've come out. Cardinals will draw well above 3 million this year.
But they've already sold over 3.1.
That's right. Melky Cabrera leads it off. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. Cabrera 1 for 2 with a run scored. And he slices one the other way for a base hit. Hustling out of the box. He is thinking two. Throw in from Holiday is just a bit late. Cabrera, who was thrown out last night trying to stretch a double into a triple, beats it by a step. A throw by Holiday, leadoff double.
24th double and another multi-hit game for the major league leader in hits. Holiday's arm has become much stronger, more accurate, and Tyler Green had to come up with the ball to hold on to it, and that kept him from going down with the tag. He got a base hit the first time up. Molina had set up down and away where they were pitching him last night, and the ball came back over the middle of the plate. See how they pitch him now.
Two balls and no strikes.
Change up inside. Play him a little bit to hit to the opposite field and the outfield. And you look at how he holds his bat as the pitcher is getting set. It almost very soft hands, almost let the barrel just fall backwards. But then right before the pitcher gets ready, you know, he brings it more upright in a hitting position. But look how loose he is. Look at hanging there. Rookie of the year, and he was just, he got some of the ugliest hits, just flared and quailed him, but he got hits after hit after hit. Now he's really driving the ball.
Looks like again Molina may have been crossed up, and here comes Derek Lilliquist. Watch Yachty and how he receives that last pitch here from Joe Kelly.
See, he throws a breaking ball, and that's not what he was expecting. Maybe the fact you just can't see the fingers. A lot of times catchers will put tape on the fingertips or even use a fluorescent nail polish. Kelly wears those goggles when he pitches, but not when he hits, because they won't fit with his helmet.
The last pitch, movement by Molina, may have cost him a strike. Jumping behind the plate, expecting something different.
And Dan, as a pitcher, you can't fault the umpire, because, like you say, you cross them up, and you're the one that created that movement.
Here's Pence with a base hit into center field. Cabrera will score, and it's 3-0 Giants. RBI for Pence, number 65. Was earlier. That was back in the first. That one, number 66.
Hunter had been really struggling with runners in scoring position, but not tonight. Inner part of the plate and just muscles it through the infield. Cabrera with that good speed. He comes around and scores his second run of the night. Third run of the game for the Giants. That'll get a little activity in the bullpen.
Joe Kelly is due up first for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 6th. It's Brandon Belt. Belt is 1 for 2.
Fuentes. Browning. Barrett Browning is getting up in the pen.
Slaps it the other way. Holiday coming on. Won't make the catch. Force play at third. To no avail. Bases loaded for San Francisco. Nobody out. And a golden opportunity here in the top of the 6th.
Surprised Molina isn't slowing down just to let Barrett Browning get loose, but he'll be ready for Crawford after Terrio.
Here's a ground ball and a chance at 2, and it's through Tyler Green. 2 runs will score. It's runners at first and third, and still nobody out, and nothing going right for Tyler Green.
Well, that's just the lack of playing time. He tried to be a little too quick, tried to flip it to his shortstop, get a double play, but he doesn't look it into the glove. Now watch him get down here, and he's ready to make the throw, but it's not in the glove. Pulls the glove up a little bit too soon. And as you say, nothing going right. And now Mike Matheny will come out and go to the bullpen.
So that'll be it for Joe Kelly. 3 runs have scored. Browning coming in to try to stop the damage. 5-0 San Francisco. Preview as they head to the SEC, and a look ahead to the season tomorrow at 10:30, only on Fox Sports Midwest. Gary Pinkel and much of the coaching staff on that preview. Chevy called to the pen, and it's Browning.
Bear Browning appearing for the 17th time. Remember, he came up from Memphis. He was a minor league free agent, and he was relieving Joe Kelly. Browning retired the first 14 batters, and lefties now are just 2 for 22 against him.
Here is Brandon Crawford, who has made 2 very fine plays defensively at short tonight. The second one that he made was a key in taking a hit away from Freese and an RBI. Right now you have to wonder what's going through the mind of Tyler Green, who gets a start tonight. He has struck out twice and just committed an error that potentially could have led to a double play. Instead, nobody out, 2-run score, and it's 5-0.
Because of the short bench, you know, don't do a double switch here, but probably wouldn't have Browning pitch more than this one inning anyway.
And that is a base hit out to left. 6-0. We have seen time and again too with Tyler Green where a lefty is on the mound and Mike Matheny still will go at times with a left-handed bat against that lefty. So his confidence, wonder what level it's at right now. Bullpen last 11 home games has been outstanding. .58 ERA. It's a 6-run lead for Vogelsong. Runners at first and second. He's showing bunt and takes a ball high and away. Mentioned earlier for Tyler Green how it's got to be difficult to stay sharp. Take all the ground balls you want. Hit BP, but no live action. Tough night tonight. Vogelsong gets the bunt down, and everything going the way of the Giants. It's a foul ball.
McClellan wasn't too anxious to call that one either. The only chance they had, and a lot of times we've seen this ball stay and roll back into fair territory, but Yachty watching it, clearly is foul now, and they kick it that way with the glove.
As you talked about, even then, Tim McClellan taking his time. 1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out. Here in the top of the 6th. Carpenter is charging from first, and that was nearly to the backstop. What hurts most right now for the Cardinals, not just losing games, but when you lose, couple that with the Cincinnati loss last night and again today, knowing that they had lost a chance to gain ground.
They've been so hot.
Two and two.
Browning was the lone Memphis Redbird to make the All-Star team. He's pitched so well. He's shown the ability to get right-handers out also.
And he gets the bunt down with 2 strikes on him. Browning to first base. Green is covering for the out. Sacrifice is good. Ball taken there by Pagan. Chance to add to this lead. Runners at second and third for the Giants. And Pagan has been on base back in the third inning. Single. Advanced to third on a throwing error by Kelly on a pickoff play, and then came around to score. Check swing, and he went. Here's a 1-1. A fly ball out to center. Runners will tag up. Crawford stops at second base. Terrio will score to make it 7-0 Giants. RBI for Pagan, number 41. And the ninth man to come to the dish this inning is Scudero. Tony La Russa made a trip to see Ryan Terrio. He was all over the place. Laird in Detroit, other players that have been scattered from that championship team.
And 2-for-1 with Laird and Dotel.
Right, delivering those championship rings. I had not heard if Pujols had received his. Colby Rasmus did receive his. My understanding is there was not an exchange between Colby, though, and Tony La Russa, but he did receive his ring. Here's the 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sometimes a change of scenery is good for a player. We saw that with Colby. Not a great year, but very solid.
He's batting, what, third in the order for Toronto, and around 20 home runs, but average in the 240s.
Two balls and 1 strike. Average at 251 after hitting just 173 last year. While with Toronto, he has 20 home runs. He's driven in 66.
Cardinals played such inspiring baseball the first 4 games of this homestand. Last night they played great defense, but they never could overcome the first inning 3-run home run by Buster Posey, and tonight kind of a clunker. You don't get that real quality starting pitching. Makes life tough, but you got to score some runs. You're down 7-0 in this one with only 2 hits.
And both by Jay. Here is Green to the right side, and Carpenter back to the bag, and he makes the play. 5 runs put up by the Giants here in the top of the 6th. Wainwright and Bumgarner tomorrow will come your way at noon. Cards win, you save promo, and 4 wins so far. And this could lead to a discount of up to $18. These tickets will go on sale Cardinals.com/win at 10 a.m. on Friday. Reduced tickets. And again, that'll be this Friday at 10 a.m. Cardinals.com/win, 10 a.m. Friday. So Browning will hit for himself here, and you can understand with a short bench maybe why he hits for himself, but looking up, nobody throwing behind him right now.
Yeah, I don't understand this move.
Talked about it with the 3 lefties. You have Fuentes, Sapchinski, and Browning, and just trying to find innings and quality spots to keep them sharp.
3 lefties, I like that idea, but it only works if you use them.
One and 2 the count on Browning. Vogelsong has been outstanding tonight. Only 2 hits allowed, and both have been by John Jay.
Yeah, it looks like he swings the bat. Having a little fun, but Furcal got a cortisone injection today. He's not available. Alan Craig has an issue. Schumacher would benefit him not to swing the bat after he was hit in the hand by a pitch late last night. So we can understand a pitcher hitting here. But Browning got some work in last inning. Got a few guys in that bullpen.
Browning, Hopper to short. Crawford, that's his easiest chance of the night, and he's made every play. 1 away. Joe Kelly only 88 pitches tonight. 5+ innings, 7 runs, 9 hits, and Brandon Crawford all over the place. This was a outstanding play early on. And then this one against Freese, the first against Molina. One against Freese takes the hit and RBI away. And at that point in the game, it's a close game.
Yeah, and that was right before they had their big 5-run inning. So that would have produced at least 1 run and extended the inning. Who knows? Would have been 2-1 at that point.
And a ground ball that's pulled foul, 0-2 on John Jay.
I mentioned Cardinals only 2 hits, both of them off the bat of John Jay. Had their chance there in the 4th inning. John Jay a base hit, then a pair of walks. And then that slick fielding play by the shortstop.
1 ball and 2 strikes on John. Average has jumped to 306. Cardinals with Wainwright going tomorrow against Bumgarner. Doesn't get any easier over the weekend. Cardinals will face Halladay, Lee, and Vance Worley. 1-2 pitch. Redbirds will counter with Loesch against Halladay. 2 of the best in the league, although the numbers wouldn't say that for Roy. Westbrook and Lee. Cliff Lee 2-6. And then Lance Lynn on Sunday against Vance Worley.
We know Loesch has been pitching outstanding, and I consider him one of the best in the league. Westbrook 4 straight wins. So Cardinals will have their chance. They just need to come back in this game. They need to win tomorrow. Have a little momentum going for just a 3-game weekend series against the Phillies. Then come home for a nice long homestand. Got to make ground now.
2-2 pitch. You'd have to say that Ryan Vogelsong, Al, with just the numbers alone, outside of wins and losses, has to be considered in the conversation for Cy Young right now. And many people wouldn't put him in that conversation.
Now he's trying to win his 10th ball game, be 10-5, league leading ERA.
And that's what catches your attention. And Jay hits a fly ball out to shallow center. 2 outs. Give him credit. He's been good tonight. Matt Carpenter tonight has grounded into a double play back to Vogelsong. That was in the first inning, and he also walked. First pitch up there, hacking away. Strike 1.
Song is 35 now. He's gone through an awful lot.
And that is a fair ball off the bat of Carpenter into the right field corner. To second he goes. Why not look 3? Carpenter on his way to third with a triple.
Carpenter's 5th triple of the year. That ties for the team high. And with 2 outs, can the Cardinals get on the scoreboard with Holiday at the plate? But a bad hop. I think it's going to get by Belt anyway, but it takes this bad hop and goes over the dive. Belt is leading all National League first basemen in fielding percentage.
Here is Holiday. 2 outs, runner at third. Chops it to short. And it stays 7-0 in favor of the Giants. We head to the 7th. All San Francisco here in Game 3. AT&T trivia question. Name the 2 relievers in the building that are in the top 10 among left-handed saves.
You know who they are? Dave Righetti, 4th with his 252, the pitching coach for the Giants, and Brian Fuentes, 204, 6th place on the saves list. He has more. He's the active leader by a left-handed pitcher in the save department. 09, he had 48 saves to lead the baseball with the Angels his first year.
Cardinals had significant interest, you might remember, a few years ago in Fuentes, and contract was offered, but obviously did not sign here in town. Dave Righetti has done a little bit of everything, starting, relieving.
Very good career. Outstanding pitching coach also. There's nothing in the game that he hasn't experienced from a pitching standpoint.
Switch hitting Melky Cabrera. And Righetti grew up a Giants fan from San Jose. He was the first pitcher ever to throw a no-hitter. Also led the league in saves. I remember he was a former Rookie of the Year. So the experience of being a starter and a reliever, the bonus. There's Tim Lincecum with the hoodie. Chilly night like tonight, why not? It's only about 92. And this has popped up. Green calling for it, makes the catch. One away. Big lead like this, you wonder how much longer Buster Posey would stay in this ball game. Same could be said for Yadier Molina. Day game tomorrow if those two would return. Big lead for the Giants, 7-0.
They have a 1.5 lead on the Dodgers coming into action today.
Posey's been on base twice, a single, a walk, and also grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. The odd schedule of this season saw us in San Francisco for 2 games. So that nearly hit Posey. Then they are here for 4, and yet we go back to Los Angeles for the 2nd time and play them 3 more, while they played 4 here in town, and we were already there for 3 out in LA. 2 balls and 1 strike.
A lot of that will change next season when the Astros move into the American League. You won't have the 6 teams, the unbalance like in the Central Division right now of the National League. And because you'll have 2 15-team leagues, there'll have to be an interleague game almost every day.
3-1 pitch. A little high to Buster Posey. Third time that he's been on base, and now it's Hunter Pence. No activity in the Cardinals bullpen. This is all Browning right now. How about you, Al? I was a little surprised not to see anybody warming sooner than Browning behind Joe Kelly. Kelly was running into trouble.
That was a double, a walk, RBI single, a base hit, and the error by Green before Barrett Browning came in to face Crawford, a left-handed hitter. And now some activity in the Cardinal bullpen as Fuentes starts to throw.
2-0 the count. 15 balls of the 26 pitches that Browning has thrown, and that is not what we have seen from him in his brief time in the big leagues. He's been aggressive, lots of strikes.
Changes speeds well. He has a late breaking ball. His fastball isn't at a real major league quality, but he uses it better than most. He can make it a major league pitch.
That is a fair ball out at second, and no throw by Green. They do get the lead man Posey. Look at the Redbirds schedule upcoming. One tomorrow with San Francisco to end the homestand, and then we'll be at Philly for 3. Day off on Monday. Arizona, Pittsburgh, and Houston. And what is a crucial stretch for the Cardinals. Arizona has played much better since the first time we've seen him. Houston has been atrocious this year, and then the Cardinals have that road trip to Cincinnati. Also stops in Pittsburgh and Washington. So by that time, end of August, early September, we'll have a pretty good idea where the Cardinals stand. Belt is 2 for 3. San Francisco, they've got the ball dudes. Usually they are gentlemen that are over the age of 70. And that would, you would think, have to be a reactionary spot. And not to say that someone that is 70 or older isn't quick on their feet, but you're not as quick as you might be when you're 20 or 30 years old.
And at times they can be a bit comical.
The ball dudes.
The ball dudes. They're having fun out there, aren't they?
It's one of my favorite things to see them chase down the foul balls, and usually they trip, fall over, roll around, and never get to them.
Hey, now be careful. Careful. Talking about my age group now.
Two is a fly ball. John Jay wants it, and let's stretch. Giants strand a runner. They lead it 7-0. 7th inning stretch time. Chinook's difference maker thus far has been Ryan Vogelsong. 81 pitches, There's a double play early on in the first inning. Struck out 3. Twice he has gotten Tyler Green.
Just made good location with his pitches, changing speeds. He's only allowed 3 hits. Hard to win when you have one more hit than errors. Cardinals have committed the only 2 errors of this game.
Cardinals have Beltran in the fold for next season. Craig, have to figure, would be your first baseman. David Freese under the club control for a number of years, along with Yadier Molina. Furcal is back next season.
Cardinals will have some payroll come off the books, but you got Yachty that's due a big raise. Freese will go to arbitration for the first time, so will Mott. They'll be rewarded for what they've done in the past.
And Beltran draws a leadoff walk. Upcoming schedules, looking at the Central Division. We talked about the Cardinals for Cincinnati, Chicago, Wrigley Field for 4. Then the Mets, and they get the Cubs at their place. Pirates finish up with Arizona tomorrow. Then they've got San Diego, and they have to pick it up a notch or 2 with the Dodgers and Cardinals coming their way.
Sometimes it's easier to play good opponents. You play to their level. Good teams can just steamroll over the bad teams, but sometimes a club will play down to that level of a second division team.
0-2 on David Freese.
Cincinnati sure has missed Votto, haven't they?
Oh, it's been just not missing a beat. Frazier moved over from third to first base. Scott Rowland, his familiar spot.
I'm on Ludwig.
And that has been the real key for them as he caught fire. Freese grounds out. Things get serious tonight. Cardinals scores 6. Any size drink, just 50 cents all day tomorrow at your nearest On the Run and Mobile. This year, 6 is a serious number. Start thinking about the call-ups for September, and we mentioned last night Taveras will be an option, the AA outfielder that's had a tremendous season. Adrian Chambers, seen him. Matt Adams as well. Here we are on August 8th, and before you know it, September call-ups will be here.
You know, sometimes a organization is afraid to start the clock on young players, but if the players we're talking about, like a Taveras, Rosenthal, maybe even Shelby Miller, if he keeps on pitching the way he has of late, I think you do yourself a big service by getting them acclimated to the major league scene. Give them a little taste of it, make them hungry, let them get to know their teammates, get accustomed to see what it's like. Then you go into spring training, then they really feel like they can challenge themselves to do what you talk about, Vogelsong and Wainwright a few years ago, saying, hey, I want to be part of this. They're going to get their time and service if they're as good as what the organization thinks they are.
One and 2 on Yadier Molina. Runner at second base, 1 out. 2-2.
Vogelsong still only 93 pitches thrown, 61 strikes, 32 balls.
And Yadi skies one towards left field. Backing up Cabrera. Puts himself in a position to throw. And a strike to third.
Hunter Pence,
Oz of the fans.
Hunter Pence is always one of the top assist leaders in the National League, but Cabrera is doing a good job himself, and he anticipated they may be tagging up, practice it, and he would have been out if he tried to run on that gun.
Al, I was hosting the 82 roundtable at Lumiere, which many nights hosts the post-game show, and this was the 1982 Champions Roundtable, and they talked about the lost art of infield and outfield practice, and primarily not so much the ground balls or catching fly balls, but the fact that you go out and throw, and you long toss to an extent. But all of them talked about it. You had Keith Hernandez, Tommy Herr, Ozzie, Obergfell. One of the greatest defensive infields the Cardinals have ever had.
Think about it now, Dan. You really don't ever see the true infield and outfield before a game. Now, the Cardinals do a lot of defensive work before batting practice, but I don't see how what you're doing at 3:30, 4 o'clock prepares you for a 7 o'clock game, and having your arm strength ready to, in the first inning, be able to throw a runner out at the plate. Do the fly balls, they do this, they do a little marginal throwing, but it's not like doing it, you know, about 6:45, 6:50 for a 7:15 game. Pitchers used to hate it because we'd have to go out there and work with the outfield relays and stuff. But so the relievers do it one day, the starters do it another day, but it helped you win a game.
2-1 is lined to short. And we have played 7 here at Busch Stadium. Vogelsong and the Giants cruising tonight. Sports Midwest. Let's go to our studio. Pat Paris standing by with a Bommarito sports update. Pat. Be called to the pen. Brian Fuentes, part of the retooled bullpen for John Mozeliak and the St. Louis Cardinals.
4-time All-Star. He's getting up there in appearances. This is his 650th appearance, 4th among active left-handers, and he's 4th with his 204 career saves. That's the most by an active left-hander. Released by Oakland and appearing for the 6th time.
How would you describe this motion of Fuentes?
Well, it's deceptive in the fact that he really throws across his body, slings the ball up there. He kind of, you'll see he kind of has a little hesitation in there, and it looks like from our vantage point that you can see the release point, but I think he really blocks it with his front shoulder and hides the ball. He's always had a tremendous changeup. Doesn't throw as hard as he once did, but returning now to the National League, I think there's a lot of deception. Almost like he steps towards the Cardinal first base dugout.
The battery is Cruz behind the plate. Fuentes, a lefty on the mound. 2-2 to Ryan Theriot. Talked about it earlier, how the Cardinals are now over 3.1 million, trending towards 3.3, and doing this in one of the hottest summers that many can remember. Testament to the fan base and their loyalty to this organization, because it has been a blistering hot summer here in St. Louis.
Theriot has had 519 at bats without recording a home run. Stands as the 4th longest active streak in the major leagues.
And he draws a leadoff walk. Mentioned the position players earlier that are under contract, and Cardinals make that deal to get Mujica, right-hander that has been very good from the Marlins, for Zach Cox. And Mujica is under contract for 2 more seasons after this year. I should say under control, under the Cardinals' control after this year. 2 more seasons. Another reason why you pick up that right-hander who's been very good so far. There's Crawford with a runner at first and nobody out. Strike 1. Brett Pill is on deck. Up the middle and a base hit for Crawford. 2-hit night for the Giants shortstop.
His head right on that ball, just drives it up the middle. Or the second hit, as you said, from the young shortstop, Brett Pill. Will pinch hit for Vogelsong, who's awfully good tonight.
Brett Pill's an interesting story for the Giants after 5 minor league seasons. Made his major league debut last year. 15 games, he hit .300, and he has very good power. 25 home runs, over 100 RBIs last season at AAA.
45 games this year at AAA Fresno. He had 8 home runs and 35 RBIs.
Tried him at first base last year when Belt was hurt. Also can play second base and the outfield. Changeup that time, and there's the changeup that you spoke of earlier. Very good one.
You know, a lot of times the Cardinals have talked about using Fuentes as a left-handed specialist, but because of that changeup, maybe a little diminished velocity, he may be more effective against right-handed pitching right now. The right-handed batters.
And that is off the glove of Descalso. Wave the runner home. Throw by Daniel to the plate, not in time. As Terrio hesitated around third, he scores the 8th run for the Giants tonight.
Dalzo came so close to catching that line drive and maybe even a double play, but scoots underneath the glove for a 12th base hit, right on the webbing, just couldn't hold on to it, and then it slows it down, so Terrio's able to score from second.
Angel Pagan back to the top of the order for San Francisco. He's 1 for 3.
He's been a very good hitter against the Cardinals, nearly 400, in his career.
Did that with the Mets last year and carries over now to what he's done with the Giants. Came from the Mets for Ramon Ramirez and Andres Torres, who has suffered through an injury-plagued season for New York. Vogelsong, 97 pitches tonight, 7 innings, no runs. ERA will drop even further. Giants felt they needed to manufacture runs, find speed, and they went and got Angel Pagan. 32 steals last year. He had 37 the year before, and that's the 9th most in the big leagues the last 2 seasons. San Francisco did not run all that much the last 2 years, and they did not have a lot of pop either. But they can pitch. 3-1 pitch. Now 3-2. It's been your evaluation, Al, of the lefty Fuentes. Very short sample size, little sample size here from the lefty, but what have you thought?
Well, I like what I've seen. Just the fact that he was pitching so sporadically with Oakland before his release, and then he spent a couple weeks after, between signing with the Cardinals. That's why he agreed to go down the minor leagues. And I think he's still trying to get back into pitching shape. But I like his experience, his leadership down there in the bullpen with a lot of young Cardinal relievers. And I think over the long run he will help the club.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. And that is ball 4. Bases are loaded. Crowd tonight of 36,906. Visit by Derek Lilliquist, the Cardinals pitching coach. Again, 36,906. The lefty Fuentes is in some trouble here. Bases loaded and nobody out, nobody up and throwing in the Cardinals pen.
It's trouble of his own making. Couple walks, couple base hits. Has that motion which you can repeat your delivery, it's very effective, but when you're trying to get back into pitching groove, it can get out of whack very quickly.
It's one of those nights for the Redbirds, nothing seems to have gone right. They hit into a tough out when it was a close game. Tremendous play by Crawford. Tough night for the second baseman Tyler Green with the error that led to 2 runs, and this won't help either. 2 more runs will score, and it's an RBI double to make it 10-0. Crawford and Pill score off the bat of Scutaro.
Very rarely are the Cardinals out hit like they have been tonight. 13-3. They've committed the only 2 errors this ball game, and then they were getting shut out. But now the Giants with double figures, and the ball just out over the plate. Cabrera, who's added to his major league leading hit total and multi-hit games. What, at 51 now? Multi-hit games.
One ball and one strike. There's a line drive into center and caught by Jay. Runner will tag up from third and score to make it 11-0. That's Pagan. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Long inning for Fuentes. He's thrown 23 pitches. Sepchinski is up and throwing in the Cardinal bullpen.
Just thinking about some of the candidates that you might have for Cy Young right now in the National League. One name that I think all of us in the Central Division have to take a hard look at, Aroldis Chapman. Dominating year with Cincinnati.
Possibility.
Strike just below the knees to Buster Posey. Pitch number 26 from Fuentes. I'm sure a concern for Mike Matheny is the extended work of his two lefties. Again, he has Obchinski, but short turnaround. You wouldn't expect Fuentes to pitch tomorrow, maybe just to get that one lefty, if that.
And it looks like Obchinski may have the ninth inning. But that's why it was a little surprising that he had Browning go out for the second inning. It's good to give a couple days off from Mott and Boggs, but now you're going to get them back in gear.
The 3-2 pitch to Buster Posey, and he walked him.
And this is one of those games that nothing's going right, and whoever kind of finds himself out on the mound can be battling the uphill battle just to do something positive. It's the third walk this inning.
And I understand, Al, that you want to get Fuentes right and let him work, but right now this is not helping him one bit. Pitch number 30, and he has walked 3.
I agree with you.
Runners at first and second. Oh, 1 pitch, and Pence pops it foul.
Early in his career, he probably was throwing 95. Now it's right around that 89, 90 mile an hour. But a great changeup. He just can't locate pitches right now. Pence does him a favor.
Well, 13 hits tonight. This is one of them. It's our drive of the game, brought to you by Nissan. Off the bat of Brandon Belt. A double. Driven to the wall in right center. Milwaukee a winner today over Cincinnati 3-2. And the Pirates hold on against the Diamondbacks 7-6. A liner into center. The Giants add 4 more. They lead it 11-0. Brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Taco Bell. Taco Bell. Live Mas. Contos, right-hander, just activated, is brought into the game. Sanchez is the catcher. Blanco is in left, and Pill stays in the ball game. He is at first base. Tyler Green will lead it off.
You see Contos' numbers: 22 games, good ERA, good strikeout to walk ratio. He had 23 relief outings at Fresno AAA this year, 2.0 ERA at 1.71. Rookie right-hander.
Not to put you on the spot here, Al, but you have to wonder what the Cardinals are thinking about with the future of Tyler Green. And I'm a, not just next season, but from now until the end of the season, figuring out a role where he fits with the club, because he's fallen behind as far as a pinch hitter. Cardinals aren't using him in that regard, and gets the start tonight. Commits the costly error and is struck out twice. So it's been a very, very difficult season, I'm sure, for Tyler, and tonight in many ways is kind of been an example of the way things have gone for him.
That just almost added to the misery as that ball hit the netting and kept it from going into the stands. But former #1 draft pick, Mike Matheny really tried to work on his psyche, tried to really give him the job in spring training.
And he is out at first.
There's no doubt Tyler has a lot of ability, but we just really haven't seen it on a consistent basis here. And you wonder, is it going to be better for the Cardinals and for Tyler, and maybe a change of scenery?
Al, I have good news, though, for you in what has been a disappointing night.
I'm waiting.
I know you are a guy that really appreciates flowers, your grass, your plants at your house.
Rain's coming?
Rain is a-coming. Will it hit Busch Stadium before this game is over?
Would it be appropriate for what has transpired so far to have about a 2.5-hour rain delay?
I always find it interesting why fans would stay when the game is 11-0.
Because they're fans.
It's a 2.5-hour rain delay.
But you know that they have the ability to come from behind.
You never know.
It's the beauty of baseball. No clock. Santos is not trying to accommodate us in our comeback. John Jay 2 for 3 on the night. And the Cardinals are held to only 3 hits to this point.
2 outs, nobody on. Cardinals with just 1 more hit than they have errors tonight.
You know, Dan, these games happen, and they're easily forgotten. Just kind of say, okay, they had our number today. We'll come out and be ready to play tomorrow. Even the series 2-2, but maybe the best thing about today is you don't get anybody hurt. You buy a little time for Alan Craig and for Kyle and Schumacher. A couple bruised egos in the ERA department. But over the course of 162 games, even the best teams have some of these clunkers.
One-two pitch.
Foul ball. Roxton was the losing pitcher in that Cincinnati game. Axford was the winner.
Jay hits it out of play.
Looks like Boggs is going to come in and pitch the 9th inning.
On a hop to third. Sends us to the 9th. San Francisco on top.
Head to the ninth in St. Louis. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Harris and Cal Eldred are at Lumiere Place. Cal tells us why Ryan Vogelsong has become one of the best in baseball. They'll look at Joe Kelly's night, plus we'll have Mike Matheny's post-game comments as well. Mitchell Boggs comes on for the Cardinals. We head back to the booth and Dan and Al, guys.
Okay, Jim, thank you. And it's Mitchell Boggs, as you mentioned here. It's not a tight game, but Mitchell has been so very good out of the bullpen for the Cardinals this year, in particular in the 8th inning.
Mitchell has and Mott have not pitched since the 5th of this month, so trying to get a little tune-up here.
Mitchell told me he thought that this season was going to be a very good one for him, and one of the reasons why was Derek Lilliquist. He had Derek as a coach in the minor leagues. Those two also Georgia natives and a history at the University of Georgia too. And so he said that Lilliquist really knew him well mechanically, what makes him tick, and sure enough, he's had a very good year.
I give a lot of credit also to Mike Matheny, who from day one of spring training worked on his psyche. Every time he talked to reporters, he always talked in glowing terms about Mitchell Boggs and how important he was going to be to his staff, and Mitchell has responded to that positive reinforcement. And right now he's got a 23 straight scoreless appearances, team high, and the top active streak in the National League. In a game like this, you just have to tell yourself you're out there for a reason, and that's to keep your time. You don't want to go too long without throwing, and so you really make it a positive. Some guys don't understand why they would be pitching in like a mop-up role, but here you try to just keep sharp.
There's a grounder by Terrio and a base hit. Ryan Terrio is aboard.
And there's other times when you get a game like this that whoever's on the mound has to understand that you're just not going to have a good day. But you have to will yourself to say, okay, now I'm going to get a ground ball double play, and they're not going to score anymore. Shane Robinson is now playing left field.
Concern for Mike Matheny in a game like this is using Boggs, but making sure that the workload is something that he can handle to be able to bounce back tomorrow. And don't forget about the big weekend series against the Phillies.
Sure. Anytime you use a 8th inning, 9th inning, your closer in a non-save situation or close ball game, you're just hoping they understand it's a tune-up and can get through it in as few pitches as possible.
2 balls and 1 strike on Brandon Crawford. And I know this game is 11 runs and it's a blowout, but his play defensively early on was big.
Exactly right. We talked about it all series long that he got off to a very slow start defensively, committed a lot of errors, but he's really tightened up that defense. He has shown that he can play at this level and excel.
And if he doesn't make that play, Cardinals get on the board. Who knows what happens after that? Would have made it a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, 2-1 and still batting.
And that is a walk to Crawford. So the first 2 have reached. Cruz out to visit with Mitchell Boggs, and saw Mitchell shaking his head. He was frustrated with the home plate umpire. Tim McClellan staring at him now, and then also the check swing. He thought that was a strike. You look out west past the stadium and you see a little lightning too.
Yeah, a game like this, you really just have to forget about the umpire or anything going against you. You really have to challenge yourself to be strong mentally.
That's pulled foul by Brent Hill.
come in trying to protect a lead or in a save situation, it's really easy to be motivated. In a game like this, you got to really almost be selfish and say, I'm going to keep that scoreless streak. I got to keep them off the boards. It's a lot tougher to manufacture the right mental frame of mind.
There's the 0-1 pitch, and that's out at third and to first. Nice play by Carpenter. They may have had the runner at second, Terrio.
I thought they would have had a better shot there, but at second base, as both of them were moving on the line drive, and it almost threw it away. Nice effort by Carpenter, trying to even stay on the bat. Here's the line drive. Look at where, and you saw Tyler Green was at the second base bag. If he would have elected to go to get the lead runner, I think he had him out there.
So there's one away, and here's Angel Pagan up again. His 6th at bat in this ball game. That catches McClellan. With all his might, fires it back to Mitchell Boggs.
Around the collarbone area. Wasn't happy about it, but part of the game.
One ball and one strike. The Cardinals do not score in the bottom of the ninth. This would be the biggest Giants shutout in St. Louis going back to 1894. Right now, an 11-run lead.
Recognized that 1892, right, is their first year. Did have baseball in St. Louis prior to that, but not really the Cardinals until 1982. 1892.
2-2.
Contrary to popular belief, I did not see that.
Was not going to go down that road with you, Mr. Rabowski.
4 years later, I saw them.
I was going to go down that road. Here's a 2-2. Check swing. And he did not go. Lightning now in the area.
Get Zepchinski up as pitch count mounting for 18 pitches now for Boggs. Cardinals would have to almost put a pitcher out there, even if you want to put a position player, because you don't want to use any of the guys on the bench. Get banged up.
And that is a walk. Streak on the line for Mitchell Boggs, Al, and that's something that certainly would have to motivate him.
Well, that's exactly. In a game like this, you got to manufacture something, and that would be the adrenaline, is to say that you've got that 23-game scoreless streak. So bear down. He doesn't walk people, or at least this year we haven't seen him have the control issues that he's had in the past, and that's just, in my mind, lack of concentration, which is very understandable in an 11-0 game. So, but you'd hate to lose your streak in something like this where you need a little work.
0-2 on Marco Scutaro.
Hitting becomes contagious. They've already banged out 14 hits. Scutaro has a pair of them. Got 3 RBIs on the night. They're just up there nice and relaxed, just swinging away.
Nearly made it to our booth. Al, you're so used to those comebackers, you didn't even flinch.
I charge line drives. Kruko with the baseball. Being an ex-Cub, you know he didn't catch it on the fly. And now I won't even give it to a Cardinal fan.
I'm not sure he caught that ball.
You know he did. You know he did.
That is the baseball that he carries with him to every game.
I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed Kuiper and Kruko. Do a great job. Been together a long time.
Well, you've got pitch number 25 coming up for Mitchell Boggs in a game the Cardinals are losing 11-0. I understand that you want to get guys work and keep them sharp, but is this the best use of Mitchell Boggs? 1-2 the count here on Scutaro.
I'm with you, partner.
In the air, out to deep left. Robinson is back. He'll look up. It's a grand slam. Marco Scutaro, a grand slam. On a 1-2 pitch, the streak is over, and it's over with an exclamation point. 15-0.
How about 7 RBIs and streak's over? So Mike Matheny make a pitching change and bring in Zepchinski. $15-0. Scutaro with, we have to believe, his career high 7 RBIs, 4 of them on this grand slam.
Very lightly. Is into the ball game.
51st appearance for Zepp. Been getting better. It's a scoreless 9th inning on Friday and again yesterday. A final note on Scudero. His third grand slam, his career high 7 RBIs. His last home run prior to that was up off of Ryan Fuentes. How's that rain coming, Dan?
It is a light drizzle now here at the ballpark, it looks like. Very, very light. Indications are, though, heavy stuff on its way.
Blanco, his first plate appearance.
And that's a liner caught it short by Descalso.
Sanchez, their backup catcher. Good thing he didn't come up with the bases loaded. He's 4 for 5 with 8 RBIs this year with the bases loaded. Hitting .311 on the road, .254 at home. And he's yet to start a game when Matt Cain or Vogelsong pitches.
And the 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now we need a do-over.
What inning you want to pick it? How about the first?
I'll take the first.
Remember, they got on the scoreboard in the first inning. Bullpen had been so good prior to tonight. Like 8 runs charged to the bullpen.
Goes down to get it and hits a fly ball out to left. by 15 or more runs back in 1961. That's at home. Shut out 19-0 that game by Pittsburgh. They've also had a 17-0 shutout. They were on the losing end of. So tonight is the third worst.
Who was the 17-0 game against?
Metropolitans. It's the kind of game that you needed Spezio or Miles to pitch.
Absolutely right. Like I said, Mike doesn't even have the bench players to even put in a position player to pitch.
Harris is the new pitcher.
Yeah, he doesn't want to use. Fakal had the injection. Schumacher got hit by a pitch on the hand. Kind of day of rest will give him a break. And then Alan Craig dealing with a rib injury. This game this afternoon started wrong. Found out the news on Alan Craig not in the lineup. Kind of got everybody in a ugly mood, and this game has been, that's a pretty good description, isn't it? Ugly.
Yep.
I've seen Harris a few times when he was with Minnesota.
Carpenter has been on base twice. A walk and a triple.
Cardinals just haven't had any base runners. You know, 3 hits. They've only stranded 4.
Waits on that pitch and drives it into right.
A hit off a left-handed pitcher for Carpenter. He doesn't give away at bats, does he? Grinds them out. Talk about his numbers compared to National League rookies for a guy that doesn't play on an everyday basis. He represented pretty well on the different leaderboards of the National League rookies.
Probably does not get enough playing time.
No.
But with what he's done, he's been very good. We talked about it earlier that you have Freeze locked up, Craig, or at least under their control. Beltran back next year. So Carpenter's role at this point in his career, you'd have to say, would be a bench guy.
I don't think the Giants are that worried about Carpenter.
Al, I'd have to say you're correct.
It doesn't seem like he wants to take second base. Now, if you're Harris, you want to go out there and you want to preserve the shutout. That's your motivation. Now he goes.
No steal. And that is a walk. Runners at first and second. Now the suspense lies in the sky. Will it downpour on us to have a delay?
Carlos still in this ball game. He's got a 9-game hitting streak on the line, 4 home runs during that time. This is where Mike Shannon always talks about it. A home run's a rally killer. When you need 15 runs, you just got to keep on getting base runners.
First pitch popped up into shallow left. Cabrera makes the catch. See now, Al, that's a veteran move there by Carlos Beltran. First pitch, swing it away. Budweiser player of the game is Marco Scutaro, career high 7 RBIs.
Third grand slam. Lacked the triple for the cycle. The rally caps are out.
Freeze is 0 for 3. Al, it could be worse. You could be the Houston Astros right now.
Very good point, Dan.
And that is a long night every night.
We would need Fernando Tatis and a touchdown just to tie it. 2 grand slams in 1 inning of Janho Park.
Punch out of David Freese.
Skip shot. Schumacher will have to hit, as he was hitting for Zepchinski. He was hit on the hand by a pitch last night. Knew he was available, but they wanted to have him hit only if it was a close ball game, not a 15-0 game.
You don't want to miss it. We've got Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live coming up. Al, and they will extend an invitation to you if you'd like to join them. And
you know, I have plans.
One ball, 1 strike. Skip was a pinch hitter in game 1 on an 0-2 pitch, single to left. Stays away from that delivery. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bright spot of the evening was baby Risa and her parents. Thanks to Skip here, her night here at the ballpark.
Skip is 5 for 19 with 2 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
And the Cardinals are down to their final strike. 2-2 the count.
Oh, no, they're not. This game is going to continue.
3-2, and the runners now will advance.
Now a base hit scores 2.
Told you that play by Crawford looms large.
Fans are into it.
3-2 pitch. And a liner, and Crawford makes the play. Why not? That's how the ball game comes to a close. Thankfully, 15 hits for San Francisco and 15 runs. Don't go away. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live postgame show That will come your way next.